HRT, hormone replacement therapy. It is something I was on for years, had to go off, and I want to talk about my life and my body after HRT. Hey everyone, it's Melissa. Like I said in the intro, I was on HRT since my 40s when I had to have a hysterectomy, a complete one, took my ovaries and everything, and I immediately went on the patch. The HRT patch, Vival was the name of it. Was on it for years until I developed this past year, or just in September, breast cancer, where I had to have a double mastectomy, and it was hormone based, estrogen based, and so I had to go off of HRT. And not only did I have to go off of HRT, I had to start a drug called Asrol. It's a little tiny pill for 5 years. This goes extra from being on HRT and stopping it, and it will suppress hormones, the estrogen, even more on your body. So it is probably most of you have heard of Tamoxifen. This is like a cousin of it. From what my oncologist told me, Tamoxifen is more for premenopausal women, and Asrol is for postmenopausal women, which I fit into that category. So that's why they prescribed this one, but they're very similar from what I understand. So going on all these hormone changes, I was afraid. I had talked to several people. You know, they said, boy, you're going to be going through some changes. You know, your skin's going to change. Your feelings are going to change. Your emotions are going to change. Your sleep patterns are going to change. Your hair is going to change. So much of your body, they told me, was going to change. So I've got to be honest, besides being afraid of, I've got cancer, I've got to go through a big surgery, I have to have both of my breasts removed, I have to have reconstruction, I'll have to have another surgery after that. I was scared about being off HRT, much less taking this other drug. About as much as I was the whole cancer thing, because of what I had read, and you know, I thought I'm going to be like a raving lunatic that's all dried up except for my tongue hanging out of my mouth, because I'll just not be able to function. And so this is kind of why I'm doing this video, even though it makes me very uncomfortable to do it, even though I kind of don't want to do it, but I kind of feel like I have a duty to do this video to kind of tell you about a real life experience of going off HRT and going on a hormone suppressant drug. And I tell you, I was so worried about going off of it. This is the absolute truth, that I thought about staying on, maybe going through the surgery, off of it, and going back on the hormone patch. Until I talked to the doctors, I said, you know, I would say, I'm thinking about doing that. And they were horrified. No, you can't do that. Do you not realize that your body, with these hormones, it makes cancer? And not only that, it was starting to try to get into the rest of your body. You know, it was going into your breast. You know, you can't do this. But I still researched ways to stay on HRT. And I finally accepted, okay, the most important thing is to be alive. If these other things happen, they happen. So that's where my story sort of begins. What I finally thought is, you know, I had to get, this is before everything, I thought I have to get my priorities straight. And I'm also a very stubborn person. And so there were some things that I read or was told that would happen that I would think, by golly, if I can help it in any part of my being, I am not letting that happen to me. I am not letting this change my mind. I'm not letting this define me. I'm not going to do it. I'm stubborn. I want to live a good life. And I also realized that there might be some things I would have to accept and say, okay, this is the way things are right now, so I'm going to move forward, because the most important thing was to get rid of the cancer and for the cancer to stay gone. So I made a list here of things that I sort of had to accept, things that I tried to change these things, and things that I was successful and maybe not so successful, but it was okay. Okay, the first thing that I want to tell you is this is how I got off the HRT. And I got off the HRT in a gentle way, and I want to pass that on in case it would be helpful to you. I was on a hormone patch of 0.5. I went to my doctor and I got different strengths of the patch, and I just got the generic brand, the cheapest that they have, of the different strengths. So what I did was I went, after a first week of 0.5, I went the next week to 0.3, I think it was 0.375. So I stayed on that for a week. And then the week after that, and my doctor and surgeon was okay with this. He said, I think that's a good idea. The next week I went on 0.275. And what I did was, pretty much until my surgery, I stayed on that one hormone patch of 0.275. So the 0.275, it was okay for a week. The next week, it was a little less okay. The next week, it was a little less okay. Finally, by the time my surgery came out, it had gradually used up all the juice in that patch, but it had been very slow. So that helped a whole lot. Gradually going off the patch, it wasn't such a big shock to my system. Now my skin. I realized going off these hormones that my skin would probably dry out, and it did. Well, at first it got oilier, and then it dried out a whole lot, and I thought, you know, I've always said that I don't use moisturizers, but I better order me a moisturizer. So I ordered me one from Lancome, and I started using it, and I absolutely hated it. And I thought, you know, I've always talked about that I don't use moisturizers. I think it's best for my skin not to use moisturizers. I'm going to put it to the test. Now this will really tell, because this is the hardest and the driest my skin's ever has been or ever will be. So I sent the moisturizer back and got my money back. And sure enough, my skin dried out and dried out. I kept on with my Retin-A, I kept on with all my Abaji. I tweaked a few things, I added a little bit, but I stayed true to not using moisturizers, and my skin just got back to where it was before I ever started all this journey. So I was tickled about that. So I will, like I said, I will do a whole video on that. We had also, before I ever had my surgery, Doug and I both went in together and ordered a red light therapy mask because he was going to try it on his knee. We had heard that that would help, and I was going to try it on my scars, you know, to help. I had heard that that would help, and so I started using that on my face, and that helped a lot too. But like I said, I will do a whole video on that. I experimented. I tried different things. I realized the things that work. I went back to what I knew would work on my face, and I stuck with that, and I was able to get through some trying times with my skin. Hot flashes. I didn't really suffer from hot flashes. I did okay with that. I will say that my whole body temperature runs warmer now, but what I did was I chose to look at it as, oh, that's good. I've always been so cold in the wintertime. Now I'm going to be warmer, and my heating bill is going to be lower. So I tried to look at it like that, but every once in a while, even when it's cold, my whole body will be cold. It's like it's hard to regulate my body temperature. My body will be cold, my arms and my legs and everything, but right through here will be real hot. And I'm wondering if it's this heavy bra that I have to wear that's holding all the heat in. You know, when I have my final reconstruction, I will be able to wear, you know, different bras that aren't quite so heavy, but now I have to wear this day and night. The only time I take it off is when I take a shower, and it's heavy, and I'm wondering if it does that. And if that happens, I just kind of throw the covers off of me, or I'll put covers just on my legs or on my feet, and then try to keep this area cool right here. So that has helped to analyze where the heat is coming from and air out the part that is and cover up the part that is cold. So I hope that that helps a little bit. I just didn't suffer a whole lot, just had trouble kind of regulating my body temperature, and I just did it with covering up and taking off. Okay, this next one, it's very uncomfortable for me to talk about, but I'm going to, and y'all don't know how uncomfortable it makes me to talk about it. But it's the vaginal area. I had read and people had told me about atrophy, vaginal atrophy. That's where I guess it just gets so dry and it gets cracked and it starts closing up, and it's a real problem. Now, what my doctors told me and what a good friend suggested were estrogen tablets that you insert vaginally. And my doctor, my surgeon, said it was a good thing to do. The other surgeon, plastic surgeon, said it was a good thing to do, and the oncologist said it was a good thing to do. Even though it's an estrogen product, evidently it just stays in that area and it's not a whole body thing, so it doesn't affect any tumors, it doesn't raise your risks of cancer, it doesn't do anything like that except treat locally the area. But please, please don't take my word for it for your body. I'm a YouTuber with very little education. So talk to your doctor, talk to your oncologist, talk to your gynecologist, whoever is treating you, talk to them about it to see if it's right for you. The doctors were very comfortable with me using these, especially just using them twice a week. So there's that. Hair loss. I have found that, for one thing, I was put to sleep, which causes your hair to thin, and I had my breasts removed and I had the hormone thing going on. But the hair loss, yes, it has picked up. Not really bad. What I immediately did is I went back on my Nioxin shampoo, my Nioxin conditioner that you put on your roots and you leave on there for 2-3 minutes and rinse it out, and then the Nioxin treatment that it's like a foam, and you spray it on a spray the whole area that has gotten thinner, and just rub it on my scalp really well and then comb it out. I've done those 3 things and my hair seems to be okay. It maybe is a little bit thinner, but it feels like it has stopped shedding, and so I feel like, okay, it's fine the way it is as long as it doesn't shed too much more. It seems to be doing a normal amount of shedding that it should. So if my hair went back to shedding more, I would consider doing red light therapy. From what I've heard, it does a really good job of helping stop hair loss, and so that would be something I would look into, but I'm okay with the amount I'm losing right now. So that is something that I would kind of look at in the future if necessary. The bone loss. Now, I just had a bone density scan, so we shall see. I do weight-bearing exercises anyway. I do them in my arms. I do them in my legs. I do them every day, and I do a lot of repetitions, but they're not extremely hard. So I'm waiting to see what that bone density test shows. If it seems to be that I'm losing bone density, if it's not very good, then I'm going to step up my exercise. We are members of the Y, and Doug goes every day, and I'm just waiting to see if I need to go to do more weight-bearing exercises. But right now, I'm just doing the exercises that I have always done. I've done videos on them before. Because they do lift up my whole body, and the weights this way I do and the weights this way I do. So we'll see if that's enough, but that is one thing you have to worry about is your bone density. So we shall see. I'll keep y'all posted on that. And the mental and the memory loss. I haven't noticed a difference in that so far. I do the New York Times crossword puzzle every night. I do lots of games where I have to figure out words and what the word, like Wordle and those type of games, and also doing the New York Times crossword puzzle. And it gets harder. Like Monday's pretty easy, Tuesday, and by the time you get to Saturday, it's really hard. But I do it anyway. I have to, I give it my best. I think as hard as I can. I try to figure it out, and I look up the answer and I learn something. And so I feel like, as well as doing physical things, I am doing mental memory things. I feel like I'm trying to expand my mind and learn new things, and I think that's really important too. And I think hopefully that will offset hopefully any memory loss. But you know, a lot of people will learn a new language. I've even heard that you can switch hands. Like if you're right-handed, try doing it with your left hand, because that taps into a different part of your brain. Try being more artistic, you know, that maybe taps in. If you're like a mechanical person, try being an artistic person. That can tap into a different part of your brain. Expand yourself and expand your knowledge. Expand reading different kinds of books than you normally read. And, you know, I do think that the things that we do on here, learning how to do a camera, learning how to upload, learning how to do Instagram, learning how to edit, I think that that also helps a whole lot. It helps us keep up with technology. And I think one of the best things we can do for our brains is to learn technology, is to learn how to do all these devices and keep on and get stubborn and keep working on it until we finally learn it. I just think that that's a good thing for us to do. All of us that are over the age of 65, I think it's really good. Okay, this last one I didn't really want to talk about, and I'm very uncomfortable talking about it, but I really feel like I need to. And that is that you won't have a sex drive post getting off of HRT. And that's just isn't true. In fact, I think that that area in our life has even gotten better. You know, I think a lot of intimacy is, you know, in your mind and in your how strong the bonds of your relationship is, and you know, all those factors too. But Doug was so kind to me and so helpful during my surgery, and so loving toward me that it made me desire him even more. So you know, that has not been an issue. But you know, if you've got a loving partner that is supportive, you know, having your breasts taken off, even if you have reconstruction, it just does something to you. It makes you feel less feminine. I worried about that, and I kind of dwelled on that. That's going to be terrible, and I'm going to have all these other issues that didn't really materialize. But, you know, I just felt like that female area was going to be different. And so what I did was I talked to Doug about it, and, you know, he reassured me it didn't matter what it looked like or what happened to my body. He still would desire me. He would still love me. And that was reassuring. So one thing I think to do is to talk to your partner and express your fears. Tell them what your worries are. And if it's a good partner, they will reassure you that, you know, they will still desire you. You know, you're still that same person. And if you can feel your best and get your exercise and feel strong and feel mighty and feel like a sexy person, then that'll carry over to the bedroom too. I don't feel less sexy since I've had this mastectomy. I thought I would, but I don't. But yeah, I think that it is possible to discuss these things, and those pills will help that I told you about earlier. That will help a whole lot in that area. And if you can have an honest, open discussion, if you can tell your partner what your needs are, I just think that area can be worked out. I don't feel comfortable going into it a whole lot. But even having this big traumatic thing and having your hormones change and all that stuff, if you've got a good, loving partner that you can be open with and you can be honest with and you can say, this is how I feel, I just think that really matters a whole lot. And I think it matters if you can do everything to feel good about yourself. I think that matters too. I think it makes you feel sexy. I think it makes you feel desirable. So, okay, this was very uncomfortable for me, y'all. I don't think I did it justice, but I don't think I can do any better than what I've already done. I've poured everything out, probably didn't do too good a job, but I did my best. So I'm going to sign off now. But thank you for watching. I didn't find big changes going off the HRT. I actually had to think about, okay, now did I have big changes to even make this video? My fears were not justified. They were baseless. So I hope this was a bit helpful. I have my doubts that it was, but I hope it was. Anyway, I love you all. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that mess. So thanks for watching. Love you all. Oh, I'll put it up anyway. Love you all. Bye-bye.